Today in orthodox physics, one recognizes the so-called law of the conservation of energy as something fundamental. The first to speak of it, Julius Robert Mayer, was confined in a madhouse. One could, of course, relate hundreds of such stories. But the point is this, that you see how the nature of thinking in astronomical fields, that wonderfully effective thinking from the 16th to the 19th centuries, has had rather the faculty of bringing men away from reality. Men do not at all stand, as they believe, with both feet, both hands, and the body in the real, but they give themselves up to the most fantastic ideas and imagine these to be reality. Humanity can only become individual, personal, if in a definite epoch it were torn out of this connection, if all these human faculties of spirit that mediated such connections passed into a state of sleep. Thus a sleep regarding the spiritual was prepared, and mankind has slept most deeply in respect of spiritual matters ever since the 14th century. It has been a sleeping culture, but now the time has come for an awakening. Do not say, quote, "I wish to criticize creation and the Creator. Why has he let me sleep?" Unquote. This means putting oneself with one's intellect above cosmic wisdom. During the course of the Earth stage, human evolution must go through its sleep periods, just as much as the individual man must sleep in the course of 24 hours. Spiritual faculties, which is to say a concept of the world in the sense of these faculties, slept deeply in the centuries indicated. On the other hand, man dreamt of geometrical lines in space. He dreamed the dream of the Copernican, the Galilean, and the Darwinian world conception. Man needed this dream, this training, even the illusion of experiencing a special reality through the dream. Ultimately, it is the same with our sleep. If humanity had developed the ancient spiritual faculties further, if these had not slept, men would have been tired out and would not have reached reality. They came to reality precisely by the fact that in their thinking and reflecting, and also in their social organizations, they had left reality. Because these capacities slept, past centuries have brought renewal and refreshment to mankind. In a certain respect, humanity has even become freer than it was in earlier centuries, and it will have to regain spiritual knowledge. Such things can be known. But again, today's true materialist will say, quote, "Good gracious, why must I think about the life of the soul after death? I shall see all that when death has arrived. Why need I bother now in the physical body about this life after death?" Unquote. This seems to be quite plausible. This idea that it would be really unnecessary here in the physical body to bother about the supersensible life. But this is not the case. It was so only in an earlier age when man was not yet ready for freedom. Today the position is such that certain thoughts can only be grasped by the supersensible hierarchies if men grasp them here in earthly existence. Let me read that sentence again. Today the position is such that certain thoughts can only be grasped by the supersensible hierarchies if men grasp them here in earthly existence. The gods only think certain thoughts if they live in human bodies. These thoughts must be carried into the spiritual world through the gate of death. Only then can they be active. It is truly so. Inasmuch as we pursue the science of the Spirit, we are creating the right seeds for the present time, and the science of the Spirit must be pursued. You see from this that our time can become ever more clear to us through the spiritual understanding of its fundamental character and nature, in order to progress even further on the path of freedom. Much more inward ways will be found, ways much more suited to future humanity, but they must be found. It is not a matter of mastering the teachings of the science of the Spirit with the understanding, but of permeating feelings, emotions, the whole life with them. Only through such a permeating does one learn something of their truth. Otherwise they remain something which one can believe or not believe. When correctly understood, the truths of the science of the Spirit will give man a true foundation for his life, will let him recognize his value, his dignity, and his essence, and will give him the highest zest for living. For these truths enlighten him about his connection with the world around him. They show him his highest goals, his true destiny. They do this in a way which corresponds to the demands of the present, so that he need not remain caught in the contradiction between belief and knowledge. One can be a modern scientist and a scientist of the Spirit at the same time. But, however, one must be one and the other in a true sense.